Hey everyone, I'm Catherine Biroy, your personal growth and business coach, and I have just one mission to help you do what you love and make your dream business flourish. Therefore, I'm bringing experts to discuss certain topics with them, and I couldn't be more honored and happy than today when Corey Poirier is with me. Corey is a multiple time TEDx, MoMondays and PMx speaker. He is also the host of the top rated Conversations with Passion radio show, founder of the speaking program, Blue Talks, and he has been featured in multiple television specials. A columnist with Entrepreneur and Forbes magazine, featured in CBS, CTV, NBC, ABC, is a Forbes Coaching Council member and is one of the few leaders featured twice on the popular Entrepreneur on Fire show. He has also interviewed over 5,000 of the world's top leaders, and I'm interviewing him. One of his most recent talks took him to New York City when he had the extreme pleasure of speaking to at-risk youth at the Brooklyn Navy Yard Boys and Girls Club. A father to his young son Sebastian, boyfriend to Shelley, and a father to three fur babies. Corey is also a practicing yogi and rock recording of the Year Nominee. Welcome, Corey. I'm very happy to have you here with me. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, Catherine, and thank you so much. And I'm happy to be here as well.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, you interviewed like 5,000 people, and now I'm going to interview.
Oh, you're going to do a fantastic job.
I should leave a suicide note.
You know what? I should change it though to conversations. He said 5,000 plus conversations.
Yeah, Lex, exactly.
Little less pressure.
Yeah, so I know something that is going to happen very, very soon. You're going to publish a book, right?
Yeah, like really, really soon.
Really, really soon. Yeah, so tell me a little bit about it and how it is different than other books.
So I'll tell you how it's different right from the start is it's actually broken down into three sections. I call them acts, like act one, act two, act three, just like a play or what have you. And I know a lot of books are broken down into acts, but the difference with this, it's a nonfiction book and each act can stand on their own or they can be read together. And that was done so that people that might want to go back and check out section two, or they might read the book and say, I already know that everything about act one, I want to jump into act two. Mm-hmm. I like it people reading them together, but the key thing that makes it different is they can be read separately. Mm-hmm. And so those three acts, the first one is why. So the act is called Why, and it's about how to find your why. Mm-hmm. But it goes way deeper than that. So it's how to find your purpose or your calling or your why. But we dive into the four whys that impact your life. And that's a whole discussion on its own. But the point is that section is all about finding your why, mm-hmm. and what to do with it once you found it. Mm-hmm. The second section is called Thriving, and it's about it's based on the 5,000 plus conversations we just talked about and what I've learned from them. So here's the key success keys I've learned that people can apply to their lives. So it's how do you actually do it? So it's the how. And then the third section is called Enlightened. And it's basically, how do we do all the stuff we're talking about, like serve our why, serve people, run a business? How do we do this and still be able to sleep at night? So how do we do it in a very conscious way? Mm-hmm. And I didn't mention it, I guess, off the top, but the book's called The Book of Why and How, because I find a lot of people talk about the why, but not actually how to do it. And then finally, make it even more unique is, and I think you have an insight in this book as well. We have 400 insights in the book from the thousands of people we've interviewed. So you were called and selected in the top 10% because we have 400,000. So you're in the book, but it makes it different because there's not many books. I can honestly say I haven't seen another book where there's hundreds of insights by other thought leaders in the back of the book in the bonus section alone. So I think that's what makes the book different.
It's awesome, and I'm very honored to be in the book. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Actually, I was starting back then when you featured me. So I was just
I remember.
I was just making my first steps. So this was like truly, truly an honor for me. What are the key takeaways from your book?
I feel like if I kind of looked at maybe two or three, I would say one of them is the thought leaders of yesterday and the top influencers of today have found the clues. And we can learn the clues from them. So I always say, if they can point at a manhole that they've fallen down, why would I want to fall down the same manhole? So if we can follow those clues, we can shortcut the whole process for ourselves. And so a takeaway from this book is some of those shortcuts. It's some of the clues. So Jim Rohn said, success leaves clues. And this book is some of those clues. So a takeaway is not having to go and fall down all those manholes. Instead, learn from the people who already have. That's one takeaway. I think another takeaway is that it's important for us to find our purpose and our calling if we really want to have the things that the book promises, which is the abundance, the fulfillment, happiness, success. I've rarely seen it, Catherine, where a person has all those things if they haven't found their calling or their purpose. So a takeaway from the book is it's important to find your why. And then I feel like another big takeaway is that if you're not healthy, if you're not taking care of yourself, then none of the rest of the stuff we just said ever matters. You know, you can't buy back your health. And most people would say that once they lose it, nothing else matters anyway. So I think the messages in the book is take care of yourself first.
Yeah, I love it. So who is it for, and when it will be out, what people can expect?
So who is it for? It's really, I don't want to say it's for anyone because that's, it's very generic to say that, but I will say it's for people that are thought leaders or want to become thought leaders, influencers or want to become influencers, people that are maybe holistic healers that are saying, even though I found my why, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to actually earn a living doing this. So it's for people, if I say it that way, it's for people who want to go next level. So I kind of define it as it'll hopefully guide you to become the best version of yourself possible. So if you're already at this level, it'll help you get to the next. If you're down here, it'll help you get to the next level. And I feel it's a book that you can go back to over and over again. You can go back to the well and keep learning. And I will add, and I didn't add this in on the unique side, but it's written in a style like the books were written in the 30s and 50s, like Think and Grow Rich and How to Win Friends. I'm a huge fan of that writing style. So every time I would write, I would go back and reread those books. I'd read a chapter before I'd sit down and write, which takes a lot longer for writing. But I felt I wouldn't be able to get in that headspace if I didn't just recently read it. So that makes it unique, but it also gives people a kind of an idea of the style of book it is. And then the other question you asked is, when's it going to be out? So February 18th to 25th so this is right upon us, but February 18th to 25th is when we're offering it for 99 cents for the Kindle or ebook. And it doesn't have to be through Amazon, so I should just say ebook, because it could be Nook or Kobo or ebook or Kindle, any of those names. But it's 99 cents. But here's the really cool thing. At 99 cents, it also comes with a $400 program or course that we're building in real time for the people that are in it. So it's 5 steps to living an epic life. Basically, you get that course just for buying the book for 99 cents. So it's, that's kind of, when it comes out is right away. And just for that week is when we're doing that special on the ebook. Not to add a complexity, but if people go that route, if they go to the bookofwhy.com, we explain that there. But for whatever reason, if they want to order it somewhere else, then all they have to do is send in a receipt to us. And they can, easier ways to go through email. The book of, I think it's the bookofwhy@gmail.com, or they can just, message me, even though that's the longer route for me. It's harder if you get inundated with a lot of people saying, hey, send me my prize. But the receipt is just what we need to show that the person actually purchased it. So that was a long answer to that.
Awesome. So whoever buys book for $0.99 actually gets a course for, which is worth like $4,000. And it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's just for that 1 week, though. That's the key thing.
Just for that 1 week. Yeah. People, you heard that. So, yeah, I will be the first one who is going to grab it for sure because I'm in the book. But yes, I want everyone else to do the same.
And I will say, because I should add this too, the printed version of the book, for those people that are into that and want to grab that, it's available for pre-order right now until March 17th. And March 17th is the actual day where that version comes out in stores. So
wonderful.
We're close to both dates.
Yeah, I never saw. I did launching of my book in 2017, but from then to now, I never saw anyone doing something like this. This is very generous, and I'm so grateful that you shared this with my audience. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Now we're going to dive into something different, and that's my favorite topic, public speaking. Guys, Corey is also my coach for public speaking. So he is going to disclose some of his magical secrets. And my question would be, What is the key mistake that beginning speakers make?
Here, I usually start talks off by saying, I put up a picture of 3 world-class speakers, and it varies who it is from time. So I won't even say names because then people will dispute me over who's a world-class speaker or not. I will say that Lisa Nichols appears there often. I think most people are fans of Lisa as a speaker. But I put 3 speakers up on the screen, and I always make sure to have it so Lisa could be there, but then a male speaker. I never want it to be this, speakers that look similar, for the reason that I asked the question, what do you think is the common trait of these 3 speakers? Now, of course, people can yell out various common traits that are true, but I'm looking for one specific. And what that is none of them were trying to become the next Steve Jobs, the next Bruce Lee of speaking. They were trying to become the first Lisa Nichols. So Lisa Nichols was trying to become the first Lisa Nichols. But beginning speakers, when I say, why do you want to speak, or what have you, or what do you think good speaking looks like? They say, I want to become the next Tony Robbins. Yeah. Sorry, Tony's already taken. And the truth is, if you're just I hate to say it this way, but if you're just the second Tony Robbins, then the audience doesn't care either. At most, they might say, that guy reminds me of Tony Robbins, or that girl reminds me of Brene Brown. But wouldn't it be better to carve your own path and be the first Catherine rather than being the next Brene Brown? So beginning speakers often want to become somebody else, and then sadly, a lot of them turmoil for years until eventually realizing it's more important to be the first you. Figure out what makes you unique. Now, you can study at the feet of giants and say, what do I like that Brene Brown does? And use the strategies. But as far as the delivery and who you are on a stage, that has to be.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. I want to be first me. That's the point. So how one can stand out as a speaker?
Standing out as a speaker, I feel there's a 2-part answer to this. One part, and I don't necessarily subscribe to this myself as much. I do now, but I didn't early on. And I won't say it was a mistake, because there's no right or wrong answer in this, but a niche. If you want to become a speaker that really stands out, niche into an area that most people aren't talking about. So I can use the example of Seth Godin. Seth Godin goes on a stage. People aren't expecting Seth to talk about HR, government, and rules. They aren't expecting Seth to go talk about programming, right? They expect Seth to talk about something related to passive marketing in some way, shape, or form. And so he got known for that because he jumped into that and became the niche guy and dialed in so much and so deep that he started to stand out. So that's one thing. A second thing is Steve Martin said this great quote, and I think Maya Angelou had a different version of it, but the gist is, be so good they can't ignore you. So get really good at speaking, and you have to stand out because people can't ignore a great speaker. And then the third thing I would say is think about branding. So as an example with me, I always wear a different pair of Converse on stage. And I shouldn't say always, I have 365 pairs, but I have a lot of pairs. And so I mix them up. So I'm doing an event 3 days back to back. I never have the same pair of Converse. And I usually wear a blazer or a sports coat or a business coat, but jeans, like a nice pair of jeans, and then usually a black shirt underneath. So that allows me to stand out because I'm the brand. And it happens that I have a bald head on purpose. I chose to shave it. I will tell you, Catherine, my speaking engagements almost doubled when I shaved my head.
Seriously,
that's crazy. It's a brand thing, right? Because the guy with the bald head, and there's not as many speakers that have a bald head, right? So it's stood out. So branding and niching is the 2 things I would say.
Awesome. That's why I started to wear that hat. I'm not wearing it now, but you saw it in my videos. Yeah, I was passing by the store and I saw it. 2 of them actually. One is black and one is some not so white, but something cream. And I was like, yeah, that's my brand now. And I bought both of them.
And you know what I will tell you? If you wear that on a stage, you have to make sure with hats that the lighting's okay, like it doesn't cover your eyes. But if you wear that on stage, I can tell you, as a guy who's shared the bill with 3,000 plus speakers, you're going to stand out. Not many speakers wear a hat. I don't know why more don't, but anyway, yeah, I think a hat's good.
Yeah, they didn't pass by the same store, probably.
That's it. They didn't clue into it because they didn't have it jump in front of them. I like it.
So let's say that you had the speech, and how you actually get invited back from the same client, for example.
So same client. So one of the things that I talk about often, and we chatted about this recently, is regardless if it's a 45-minute keynote for a client who's bringing you in and there's 10 other speakers, one way you can stand out, and this is a way to get hired back in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you two answers. One is what you have as a system working with that client. So for example, when we talked about this part is what I was getting at, is questioning, like having a survey where you can actually ask the client about their situation, what they're looking for, where their struggles are, so that you stand out as the speaker that goes above and beyond, the speaker that cares about personalizing it, even if it's just a 45-minute keynote that you could deliver just the same every city. Find out how you can personalize it a bit to them. But I'll go one step further, and it's there's a great quote in a book, and I'm paraphrasing it best, but the quote said something to the effect of, I would rather every day of the week make the audience uncomfortable and not get a standing ovation, but get hired back, than tell the audience they're awesome, even when they're not, and get a standing ovation, but never get hired back. So what I'm getting at there is you need to not purposely make the audience feel uncomfortable, but you need to enlighten them on something that they don't realize. So, if it's an audience that they've had a bad year, then talk to them about how they could have a better year next year. Don't just say, oh yeah, I know you guys did your best. You're awesome. You rocked it. It's just it's a soft market. I mean, and I'm not saying you should beat them up. I'm just saying to be able to go and say, but here's the other side of that. What can you do to change things for next year? I'll give you an example. I just did a talk last week for a group in an area where the economy is a struggle right now. And my talk was about surviving and thriving in a new economy. And I opened up my talk saying to them, guys and girls, and this is in an oil field industry and market. And I said, guys, that I lived here at the time. The market of us being able to sell, like I used to sell fax machines, being able to sell a fax machine for $6,000, nobody blink an eye, that's never coming back. Sorry. We're in a new economy. And so I talked to them about what we can do regardless of what economy it is and what, the Disneys of the world do and Steve Jobs did with Apple. How come these organizations keep growing when everybody else during recessions falters? Well, why don't we implement those things so that we're recession proof? And so my point is that's not a comfortable subject for a place right now that's struggling with the economy. But that talk, I thought, they're going to hate me when I walk out of here. But my evaluation form said, I'm so glad you kicked me in the butt. I needed to hear this. I reflect it more than I have in years. So the way to get invited back is to actually be truthful and authentic about what's really going on and give them true solutions that they never thought of before.
Brilliant. I love that. And now I have one juicy question. So how you get paid bookings more frequently?
So I'll give you, we don't have time for me to go into my full strategies, if you will, but I'll give you a hint. And this will tell you what I suggest you do as well, is you need to find out where speakers are. So find out who's hiring the speaker in the first place. So who does the hiring of speakers and reach out to those people. So that sounds easy in theory, but how do you actually do that? And so one way that most people recommend, I don't say this should be your go-to, one way people recommend is to go do Google Alerts or type in conferences and search when conferences are coming up. The challenge with that is probably 80% of those conferences don't pay speakers. So that to me is not the answer. Second thing is not to pick up the phone book, which I don't even know if most people know what that is anymore, the phone book. But so what I tell people is, where would you find somebody that hires a speaker? How would you find them? So how you find them is you go to the speakers' websites. This is all public information. You're not doing anything wrong. Go to the speakers' websites. Go to their testimonials. See who's hiring them. Find those people. Reach out to those people. And if you do this a bit, you start getting good at figuring out who hires speakers every year, what type of speakers they hire, what they pay the speakers. I mean, I teach people the whole process of even how you research what that last speaker got paid, what they spoke on, why they hired them. So go to this one thing helped me skip years of picking up the phone saying, do you guys hire speakers? And that's obviously the slow way. What I just shared with you is a very targeted way. So again, think about where speakers post who hired them, find those people. And again, there's ways to research their contact info. There's ways to research how much they paid them, when they spoke, all that kind of stuff. And then basically reach out to those people that do the hiring of said speakers.
Awesome. This is enormous value which you just shared. It's so logical, but it never came up to my mind. I mean, it did because you told me before, but not before that.
Before.
Yeah. So now we're going to do the second part of the interview called Expert Fun with Catherine. I'm going to ask you quick questions. This is a part which my audience likes the most. You will have just 10 seconds to show your expertise and to answer to me. and you will hear the ring bell when the time is up.
The experts like it as much as the audience? I'm just joking. You said the audience loves it the most. I wonder if the experts love it the most.
Yeah. I think both, but we'll see.
Okay, we'll see. I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So cool. First question. So now you have like 3.33 seconds per tip, but tell us 3 tips on how to start with public speaking.
310. Okay. A book, Rotary type talks. So reach out to them, get on those stages, and pass an evaluation form so that people know how to reach back out to you.
Brilliant. The second one, what's the most important thing a public speaker should know before accepting the speech?
If it's the right client, what the client's looking for, and is the client solvable, like solvable, solvent? What's the word there? Solvent, so that they can actually pay you.
Yeah, brilliant.
Solvent is the word I was looking for. I ate up like Family Feud. I ate up like 4 seconds just on the word solvent.
Yeah.
If you're rushing, your head doesn't work the same way. Okay.
I told you it's bad. The third one, what would be your advice for public speakers who are already on stages but want to do more?
I would say land a branded talk, because that'll allow you to stand out in a big way. Start reading books by the top speakers and see what they do differently, and sign up for programs to learn more from the top speakers that are getting more bookings than you. I guess is what I would say.
Brilliant. Awesome. Thank you.
I feel like I'm on the Ellen show. She does this too, I think.
Yeah, she's saying the same. Yeah. Tell us a little bit how people can find you, reach you out if they want to get in contact with you. I know you have a program about public speaking and TEDx speaking, so you can share a little bit of info about that also.
Do I have 10 seconds, by the way?
No, you have all the time in the world.
Cool. So as far as reaching out and getting in touch with me, there's 2 ways. There's I call it the hub, the main website, which is, it has most on there. Like, it has my TED Talks are on there, social media links if you want to connect that way. So if you just want to reach out and say hi, maybe speaking's not even your thing, that website helps. It's called thatspeakerguy.com. So again, thatspeakerguy.com. If you want to reach out and schedule maybe a strategy call and get on a call with me and see if what we have in the program is right for you, then you can email us. It's probably an easy route. conversationswithleaders@gmail.com. You notice I hit those 2 S's, conversationswithleaders@gmail.com. Or the other thing is, if you want to just see more about the program, just go to thespeakingprogram.com. I'm big on getting the websites that have the, whatever I told you it is, has it all in the name. So thespeakingprogram.com, thatspeakerguy.com, and the book from what we talked about earlier, thebookofwhy.com.
We will leave all the links in the comments below so they can catch up from there. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being my guest. I really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to see how book will go very soon.
My pleasure. Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure.
Ciao.